Hello everybody and welcome back to our reverse shell coding. So in the previous video we saw how we can actually run our commands in a while true loop and also how we can execute the commands on the Windows 10 host. We tested our shell while after being compiled on our Windows 10 machine, and we saw that actually everything works well except some certain commands that cause our actual shell to crash. So the first thing we need to fix is the inability to actually change the directory once we run our reverse shell. So in order to do that, we need to import a certain library, which is called the OS library, which will allow us to use a function called change directory in order to perform the changing of directory in our reverse shell. So first of all, go up here. Let me enlarge this one so you can see it a little bit zoomed in. And we want to import OS. The OS library is standard library in Python, so we will not need to pip install it in order for this to work. What we want to do right now is perform an else if statement right here in the shell. So what we have for now, if the Q command is specified, this will close the program. In any other case, it will execute the command in the command prompt. But we do not want to execute this in the command prompt, so we will add an else if statement, and in order to specify the actual changing of directory, we need to know how it actually looks like once you change directory in Windows 10 machine. So in order to do that, open up your command prompt, so cmd, it is same for every Windows host, and currently we are in this directory. So for example, let's say I want to go to my desktop directory, I will do that with this command, so cd desktop, and then you can see my directory is now changed to the desktop directory. So right now we know that the command for changing directory starts with these two letters, which is cd, which basically just stands for changing directory. Same if I wanted to change the directory back, I can do this like this with cd two dots. It is rather same in Linux as well, so basically those two commands are the same, or this command is the same for Linux and Windows. So let's see how we can specify that in our program. We know that the command will be received in this variable right here, so we can actually filter it out with this statement. So else if command, and then in the square brackets we will specify the first two letters with like this. So if first two letters, oops, not space right here, are equal to cd and length of the actual command variable is bigger than 1, then we will use a function called os.changeDir. From the command, from third element or from fourth letter in our command to the end. So now you probably, if you're new to this, have no idea what I just typed right here, so let me explain. Once we actually type the command to change the directory, it will look something like this: cd space and then the name of a certain directory. Let's say, for example, cd desktop, as from the example in command prompt. Now we see at this we look at this statement right here. So this statement right here is satisfied. The command, actually the first two letters of the command are indeed the cd. Now this statement right here also needs to be satisfied in order to proceed with changing directory. The length of the command variable has to be bigger than 1, which basically stands for, since we know the counting starts from 0 in Python, the length of the actual command has to be bigger than two actual letters. Now why is that an actual statement? Well, if you open up your command prompt, and you will see that if you just type cd, it will just print the working directory. So cd and cd desktop don't do the same thing. Just cd only prints the working directory, and the cd desktop changes the directory. So we need to specify right here, once there is actually something else specified after cd, then we want to change the directory. Then we proceed to this statement right here, which basically stands for change the directory to the directory that is specified in the brackets. And in the brackets is specify command from the fourth element to the end. Now we can count right here. The C is first element, the second, basically third element is the empty space, and the fourth element will be desktop. from the fourth element, it will be desktop. So in the brackets, basically you can just imagine it says right here desktop, or the name of any other directory you want to change. So that's how this changing of directory works. So let me just delete this right now. But just in case, we actually want to run this in a try and except rule. In case, for example, user specifies the directory with a wrong name, we don't want our reverse shell to crash, so we will just try and accept. We will accept, and in any case where the user actually specifies, for example, directory that doesn't exist or any error occurs, we will just continue with the program. So basically this is the entire code we need to specify right here. Let me just check this out. Okay, everything seems to be goodly specified, and all we need to do is right now save this and nano our server code, since there we need to code something as well. So right here we can code, since you will see that if we actually send the cd command, we will then proceed to this statement right here, which will then wait for a certain bytes to be received from the target. And with cd command we really don't receive anything, since there is no output to that command, we just change the directory. So right here we need to specify something that will just go back to the beginning of the loop. So we can just use else if the same, so the same as in the reverse shell, so command and first two letters are equal to the cd, and length of the command is greater than 1. Oops, let me just add space right here. All we want to do is just continue with our loop, which will basically just go at the beginning of this loop. So let us save this. Let us compile our program to see whether this will work. So wine, then we need to specify the actual path. So wine, root wine, drive C, Python 27, scripts, and then pyinstaller.exe in order to compile this, -- no console, and -- one file. And then the name of the file that we are compiling, so reverse_shell.py. Make sure to still have the actual USB drive, since we will perform the same task as before. Right now I will just not explain what I'm doing. Basically do the same as before in order to transfer the actual reverse_shell.exe onto the desktop on your Windows 10 machine or any Windows machine you're running. Let's wait for this to compile. It should take just a few seconds. So we go to this directory. There we are going to have our actual exe file. We import our USB drive. ls, okay, there is our exe file. And now I move my exe file to media root Kali live, which is the name of my actual USB drive. Now right here, of course, you will not have this name. You might have a different name for USB drive, so make sure to specify it. As soon as this actually transfers, you can unplug this. Go on to your Windows 10 machine, and I can just transfer it on my desktop. Now before I run the reverse shell, I must run this server. So let me just delete the unnecessary directories that we don't need anymore, same as in the previous video, and I will run my server. Now after that I will run the reverse shell.exe. We can see nothing is really opening right here. There is nothing being prompted, but if we go right here, we received the actual connection. So we know that we are in the actual desktop environment or desktop directory. So let's see if we can change the directory. We will create a directory called test. We can see on our desktop right now it is created. And let's try to change the directory to test directory. And if I just tap there once again, there is nothing here because our test directory is empty, but we can see that we are currently in the test directory. If I go one step back and another step back, so that means that I will be in the actual directory, which is one step before the desktop directory. So you can see our actual changing of directory works really well. We can change to any directory we want. So basically our program works fine now. What we will do in the next video is we will see how we can actually download and upload files from the target PC and to the target PC. So hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I see you in the next one. Bye!